but it's just not fair. Lots of people aren't very environmentally friendly, or at least not as much as they could be, so if I cut back and take the bus and sort out the recycling and maybe change my diet a bit, then I'm doing my part, but they're not doing theirs. And if they don't have to do theirs, then why should I do mine? Well, if fairness is what we care about, then we could try turning that fairness principle on its head and say everyone on Earth is entitled to a fair share of natural resources, including especially the ability of the atmosphere to absorb CO2. If you're worried about fairness, we could say that you shouldn't exceed your fair share of resources, and that's not really got anything to do with whether other people do it, that's all on you. But if lots of people use more than their fair share, then the amount that's left will go down faster, so your fair share will decrease. The more other people cheat, the more you'll have to sacrifice to be environmentally friendly and fair. So we've still got a system in which the cheaters win, and so we haven't really eliminated the unfairness. There's also the issue of how we calculate a fair share of resources. Do we calculate it relative to the number of people alive and amount of resources available right now? Or do we calculate it based on what everyone across history will require? Because of those complications, maybe it would just be better to go back to some old-fashioned mum and dad morality. Just because other people are doing a bad thing, it doesn't follow that it's okay for you to do it. Lots of people aren't as environmentally friendly as they could or maybe should be, and that is unfair, but it doesn't get you off the hook. But what do you guys think? Do we have individual duties to the environment? Are there any arguments from fairness or futility that appeal to you? Send me your questions, comments, queries and comebacks underneath the video on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, or by email. Next time we could either stick with the environmental ethics and do the resource curse, that's all about who owns natural resources and how we should divvy them up, or, since naked images of celebrities have been leaked online this week, we could do Should You Look at Leaked Nudes? That would be part 3 in our odyssey of the ethics of pornography. For more philosophical videos every Friday, please subscribe. Most of the comments underneath the last episode were very friendly, so let's see what the philosophers had to say about Kant and the friend zone. First of all, many people pointed out that the definition of friend zone that I was using is not the way that they use it, or not the way that it was meant in the original episode of Friends, which is fair enough, and that most of the time it means emotional manipulation or unrequited love. That is a not all men argument, I'm afraid. The phenomenon that I was discussing with the blaming and the aggression, whether you use the same word to describe it as I did or not, is still bad for the reasons we discussed. I used the word friendzone because that is the word that some of the people who engage in the behaviour we were discussing also use, as some of the links in the description of the last episode will show you, and I did take pains in the script to distinguish it from unrequited love and emotional manipulation. James Francesco said that we objectify people all the time, like doctors and waiters. We treat them as means to our ends, so what's the big deal about it? I anticipated that somebody would bring this up. It usually comes up when you talk about this bit of Kant. When you go and see a doctor, you don't treat them solely as a means to your end. If your doctor was sick or tired and needed to go home, you wouldn't hold them in slavery until you were cured. Their ends are still important to you to a certain degree. You still treat them as a person with their own goals, so it wouldn't really be objectification in the sense that we were talking about. Mad Hatter himself brought up a similar objection, saying that it looks like Kant is saying it's wrong to try to change someone's mind. I think Kant could reply that if you engage in a debate with somebody that they engaged in willingly because they care about the truth, and then you offer them reasons and they use their Kantian autonomy to give those reasons to themselves and then change their mind, then that is okay. Whereas if you deliberately set out to undermine or override somebody's autonomy, then that is a little bit more dodgy. In the first case, they are still using their autonomy. They're still giving the reasons to themselves, and you're not trying to get in the way of that. Somebody called me an SJW and a white knight. Of course, I know that they were just having a pop because I was talking about feminism, but calling a YouTuber specifically a white knight in the context of the DFTBA Records sexual abuse scandal is actually quite a serious accusation that deserved a proper airing. So I posted a full-length reply to that on the Facebook page. If you want to read it, there's a link to it in the description. Tunas Tay asked an interesting question. What if you chose not to pursue a relationship with somebody because you wanted to focus on other things, other activities, or other relationships? Would that be friend zoning? I think in that case, you're not choosing to view them as a friend. You're not choosing to not be attracted to them. You're just choosing to go and do other stuff with your time. So it wouldn't really be friend zoning in the sense that we were talking about it as a deliberate choice. But yeah, interesting question. That's all the time we've got this week. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you in the next episode. Bye!